Welcome to Crime Alley Documentaries, the podcast where we explore true crime stories that reveal not just the darkness in the world, but the light that shines even in the face of tragedy. Today, we discuss the heart-wrenching case of Kevin Bacon, a 25-year-old hairstylist whose life was full of color, passion, and ambition, but whose death exposed systemic failures and societal challenges. This story is not just about the horrific events that ended Kevin's life, it's also about his dreams, his struggles, and the circumstances that led to his untimely death. We'll uncover the chilling details of the crime, the perpetrator's background, and the broader implications for the LGBTQ+ community and online dating safety. Kevin Bacon was born in 1994 in Swartz Creek, Michigan, to Carl and Pamela Bacon. From a young age, Kevin was known for his boldness and creativity. He had a flair for fashion, hair and makeup, skills that would later become central to his identity and career. Kevin's friends and family describe him as someone who brought joy wherever he went. His laughter was infectious, and his charisma made him unforgettable. Kevin dreamed big. He wanted to move to Chicago and work as a hairstylist in the fashion industry. He was also an advocate for the LGBTQ+ community, a group he proudly belonged to. But Kevin's life wasn't without its challenges. Growing up gay in a small town came with its share of difficulties. Though his family loved him, there were occasional tensions. His struggles with depression also weighed heavily on him. In the weeks leading up to Christmas 2019, Kevin had been feeling particularly low, which may have influenced his decision to seek connection online. On Christmas Eve, Kevin told his roommate and best friend, Michelle Myers, that he was going out to meet someone he had connected with on Grindr, a popular dating app among LGBTQ+ individuals. Kevin was dressed stylishly, as always, and left around 5 p.m. That evening, he sent Michelle a text, letting her know he was having a good time and might not be home that night. It seemed like a typical outing, but as Christmas morning arrived, Kevin failed to appear at breakfast with his parents. Worried, his family immediately began calling and searching for him. When he didn't answer, they filed a missing persons report that evening. His loved ones quickly retraced his digital footprints, discovering he had gone to meet a man named Mark Lodensky, who lived in nearby Morris, Michigan. What police found at Lodensky's home on December 28, 2019 was beyond horrifying. Kevin's body was in the basement, hanging upside down, naked and mutilated. Lodensky didn't just confess to the murder. He offered chilling details. He said he had stabbed Kevin in the back of the neck and slit his throat before hanging his body from the ceiling. He admitted to removing a portion of his genitalia and eating them. Lodensky claimed he had plans to make jerky from Kevin's flesh and use his blood to fertilize his garden. To understand how someone could commit such atrocities, we need to examine Mark Lodensky's past. Lodensky, 50 years old at the time of the crime, was a former chemist earning a six-figure salary. However, his outward success masked a deeply troubled mind. Diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia, among other things, Lodensky frequently refused to take his prescribed medications, leading to delusions and erratic behavior. His mental health issues had severe consequences for those around him. His ex-wife Emily described him as abusive and volatile. During their marriage, he became so obsessed with torture films and his behavior grew increasingly alarming. Their divorce was acrimonious, and Emily obtained court-ordered restrictions to keep him away from their children. Despite these warnings, Lodensky remained free, and his behavior escalated unchecked. In the months before Kevin's murder, there were red flags. In October 2019, a man escaped Lodensky's home wearing only a leather kilt. He was bleeding, and he was terrified. He told police that Lodensky had chained him in the basement. Just a month later, in November, another man fled Lodensky's home after being restrained. He also reported the incident but later refused to press charges. These missed opportunities to intervene left Lodensky free to commit his most heinous crime yet. Kevin's death was preventable, and the circumstances surrounding it raise urgent questions. Why weren't these earlier incidents investigated more thoroughly? How did a man with such a documented history of violence and mental illness remain unchecked? There's also the question of online dating safety. Grindr has been a lifeline for many in the LGBTQ+ community, offering connection and understanding in a world that can often feel isolating. But it's also a platform where predators can exploit vulnerabilities. Kevin himself seemed to sense something was off. His text to Lodensky expressed hesitation, asking for reassurances that he'd be safe. Tragically, those instincts weren't enough to protect him. The trial brought more horrors to light. Lodensky's defense claimed his schizophrenia drove his actions, but the prosecution pointed to the premeditation involved, the careful planning, and the gruesome rituals. In September 2022, Lodensky was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison without parole. For Kevin's parents, the verdict offered some closure, but no consolation. Kevin was their only son, and his loss left a hole that will never be filled. Carl Bacon described Kevin as the light of their lives, a young man who brought joy to everyone he met. His mother Pamela has channeled her grief into advocacy, speaking out about the importance of mental health awareness, LGBTQ+ rights, and the need for greater accountability in online platforms. Kevin's story isn't just a tragedy, it's a call to action. It's a reminder of the dangers LGBTQ+ individuals still face, the stigma surrounding mental illness, and the systemic failures that allowed a man like Lodensky to commit such unimaginable crimes. We remember Kevin Bacon not for how he died, but for how he lived. Vibrant, loving, and unapologetically himself. If you or someone you know is struggling, reach out. Whether it's mental health support or concerns about safety, help is available. Together, we can honor Kevin's memory by working toward a safer, more compassionate world. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Crime Alley Documentaries. Stay safe, stay vigilant, and hold your loved ones close. Please leave any theories or comments you might have for us down below. We're really interested to know what you think about this case.